Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today I'm making this amazing keto chocolate cake with coffee mousse, which will also have a glossy chocolate mirror glaze. This build-a-recipe presentation is in celebration of achieving a wonderful milestone of 1,000 subscribers. I would like to thank each and every person who has already subscribed. Your support is really appreciated, and it means a lot to me. The macronutrient ratio for the complete cake, including the optional mirror glaze, is 6.4 to 1, with 5.5 grams of total carbs, of which 1.3 grams is fiber, resulting in 4.2 grams of net carbs. In the introduction, I mentioned that this was a builder recipe. Now that I have introduced several how-to steps and basic recipes, I wanted to show you how to use familiar recipes with modified ingredients in some instances, in order to create new and wonderful creations. For this how to build a recipe, you will make 3 slightly different batches of the chocolate truffle recipe. Step 1 is to make the flourless chocolate cake with the chocolate truffle recipe. When the cake seems to be done, test with a toothpick, and if it's done, remove it from the oven and also take it out of the water bath and place it on a cooling rack. But leave the cake in the springform pan. I have provided the links to both these videos as end links and in the description below. Please refer to the 2 videos that describe the step-by-step how-tos. Step 2 is to make the coffee mousse layer, or as some may prefer to call it, the mocha mousse layer, also using the chocolate truffle recipe. But in this case, this recipe is slightly modified. Step 3 is the optional step. In this step, I make a chocolate mirror glaze. This glaze is extremely versatile and useful for many other cakes. However, if you don't want to make this mirror glaze, I will also show you an alternative topping for this cake. To make the coffee mousse base, you begin this step by making a second batch of the chocolate truffle recipe with a minor change. For this recipe, you will change the quantity of cocoa and coffee powder. Specifically, you reduce the cocoa powder and use 2 tablespoons instead of the 4, but you will have to increase the coffee powder to 2 tablespoons from the 1 teaspoon in the original recipe. If you want a very noticeable coffee flavor, add a 1/3 tablespoon of powdered coffee. This will greatly enhance the coffee flavor. When your chocolate truffle mix is done, remove the bowl from the bain-marie and set aside. While you're making the chocolate truffle base, dissolve the gelatin in water. This is also called letting the gelatin bloom. Turn off the stovetop heat and place the glass with the gelatin into the hot water. Stir until the gelatin is liquid and clear. Then pour the gelatin into the chocolate coffee mix bowl and combine well. Let this mixture cool to room temperature. Now whip the 225 grams of whipping cream until you've reached the stiff peak stage. Test the chocolate and coffee mix temperature so that it feels comfortable when you touch it with your finger. Then add the whipping cream into the chocolate mixture bowl and combine very well. Then add the chocolate mixture to the bowl with the whipping cream and fold together. When your chocolate cake is at room temperature, pour this coffee mousse mixture over it. Then refrigerate for 4 to 6 hours, or better yet, overnight. As I mentioned at the beginning, if you don't want to make the glaze, a simple topping is to sprinkle some cocoa powder over the top of the cake, as I'm showing here. Now for step 3, we're going to make the super easy chocolate mirror glaze. By now you're probably getting quite familiar with how to make the chocolate truffle recipe, so make the 3rd and last batch. While you're making the chocolate, dissolve the 2nd packet of gelatin in water and let the gelatin bloom, and then place the glass with the gelatin into the hot water. Stir until the gelatin is liquid and completely clear. Pour the gelatin directly into the chocolate truffle bowl and mix well for about 1 to 2 minutes. It's really important that you whisk long enough to make sure that the gelatin is completely homogeneous with the chocolate. At this point, get your chocolate cake with the coffee mousse from the refrigerator and place this on a rack that is over a bowl. You'll need this kind of setup to collect the runoff chocolate glaze from the cake, and you do want to collect it because this glaze is reusable. You'll need the mirror glaze to be warm so that it will flow over the cake more easily. To make it easier to pour, I put the glaze into a large measuring cup with a spout. Then I began glazing by pouring close to the edge of the cake. In order to have the chocolate mirror glaze, run over the edge, and coat the sides of the cake. Then I poured the mirrored glaze into the center, allowing the extra to also flow over the sides. If by now you notice that there are still some areas on the side of the cake that have not been coated, use a small scoop or spatula and just touch up those areas. This glaze sets very quickly, so you do have to work fast, especially if adding a second layer. However, usually I just do one layer because that's all it's needed. When you're happy with the glaze, let the glaze cool at room temperature. It will usually take about 5 to 10 minutes. And voila! And now you have a beautiful looking and extraordinarily rich and delicious chocolate cake with a decadent coffee flavored mousse and an impressive looking mirror glaze. Now that you've made your cake, you may ask, what do I do with the extra mirror glaze? There are several things you can do with this extra chocolate mirror glaze. One is to put the extra into a sealable glass container, which will keep well and can be reheated and reused to top other desserts, such as on top of ice cream. Or you could also roast some pumpkin seeds and make my keto chocolate pumpkin seed bark. Just note that in this instance, the chocolate will need a little bit more time to freeze and the texture will be slightly different because of the gelatin, but it will taste amazing. Thank you for watching. See you next time. The link for the printable recipes are all in the description below.